What is it with Aston Villa and last minute goals at the moment? As soon as Sky Sports put that graphic up of Villa conceding the most goals in the 90 minutes plus of the game, I think barring Southampton, you knew what was going to happen, and it is absolutely sickening. This is your instant reaction to Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1. Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm here with your instant reaction to Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1. We still haven't won at the Etihad in must be 15 games now, something like that. And it was an absolute sickener, conceding in the last minute of the game. Hit the like button, please, guys. Hit the subscribe button and get your comments and your thoughts on that. So close to getting a draw, but ultimately not quite enough in that second half of a threat. And I wouldn't say the goal was coming, but I'm not surprised at the situation that with Manchester City snatching the winner right at the death. And to me, I feel like we've given Unai Emery so much praise over his substitutions the past few games, and I mean generally throughout his Aston Villa career as manager, but there has been times where he hasn't quite got it right and maybe tinkered with the squad too much, or maybe made the wrong substitution at the wrong time or the wrong player. And tonight, I feel like he didn't quite get the rhythm and didn't quite get the substitutions right. And Manchester City capitalized on that. And it wasn't just the obvious, which I'll come to in a second, but I felt like Amadou Onana coming off at the time that he did, that took a big presence out of the midfield for us. John McGinn coming on that left-hand side, kind of isolated out of the game. Yes, he had one or two touches, but felt like he needed to be more in the middle and more in the thick of it to really put himself about. And he was kind of wasted out there. Morgan Rogers toiled away for the full game, couldn't really get on in the game and was on the fringes. You know, Gvardiol did a really good job on him, frustrated him all game, and I felt like he needed to come off earlier, potentially for Daniel Marlon earlier, and it just didn't happen, and it didn't happen for Morgan Rogers all night. And obviously the big glaring player to bring on was Axel Disasi for Matty Cash, and I don't know why Matty Cash was taken off. I can't recall him having a booking. People might be able to tell me otherwise. And he was doing a pretty good job. But Jeremy Doku must have been absolutely licking his lips when he saw that he was coming up against Axel Disasi. And he is not a right back. He's not a right back. And Unai got that totally wrong. He didn't learn from the PSG game where Disasi was way too flat-footed. He's 6'6". He's a centre back. He can't play at right back, and particularly against someone like Axel Disasi. So I don't really know why that substitution was made, particularly when we had Andres Garcia on the bench, who would have been quicker, who would have been more nimble. Yes, he's less experienced, but if you're going to make the right back change, put Garcia on. And at worst, before, even if you don't want to do that, put Ezri Konsa to right back. He's got more pace. He's used to that position. Axel Disasi cannot play right back. And I felt sorry for him because it was a poor touch from Doku initially, but it sucked him in. He wasn't close enough in the first place. He was way too far away. And then he got tempted to go in, and Doku just skipped round him. And then it's game over. You're not going to do anything to get back to him. And then a great ball in from Doku, kind of misses everyone. People in my chat are saying that Emi Martinez could have done better. It just sort of dropped to the floor. and we left Nunes free at the back post, and yeah, the rest is history. And Aston Villa's top 5 chances are very, very slim now. I mean, there's still an opportunity. There's still 4 games to go. We still have a big opportunity to win those 4 games, and kind of justifying it or sort of, I guess, putting it into context. Newcastle has won 5 games in a row, then come to Aston Villa and get beat. We then were on a 5-game winning run, and it's very, very difficult to win 6 games in a row. It is extremely difficult, particularly with the level of opposition that you're coming up against. So, look, that's kind of rationalizing it a little bit, but it doesn't make it any easier with regards to the level of the defeat. But yeah, I just felt like the substitutes didn't quite work and didn't pick up the rhythm of the game. Asensio was on the fringes of it, couldn't really get going. Watkins didn't have enough time to do anything really in the game, and we just didn't quite have the belief in that second half that we could go on and win it. No one was really prepared to run behind other than Marcus Rashford, who I'll come on to in a minute. But particularly when he went off, no one was doing that. There was a couple of opportunities that Watkins had to go in behind. He didn't want to do it. He wanted to kind of keep possession, and then we kind of end up giving it away or overplaying it. We didn't want to make that last move. Daniel Marlon, a time where he could have gone down the right-hand side and really attacked the byline, and he decided to put a cross in and ended up getting a corner. But then they clear it and then they go on the attack. And it was kind of like that. Any sort of half flicker of an opportunity to play a through ball or get it into their box, or we kind of got it in the channel, we'd then just go back, or we'd try and do something silly and we'd end up giving the ball away. And Rashford tried to nutmeg Nico O'Reilly, and you just think, we've just been under pressure for so long, and then you're trying to nutmeg someone and then it's coming straight back to us. We couldn't get the rhythm in that second half. We were working hard. We were keeping organised. We were restricting Manchester City to sort of very limited chances, really, only really off corners and, heading over. I don't recall Emi Martinez having to make any great saves. A couple into his hands. I think Kovacic had an effort. So it was very well organised. But this last minute lapse in concentration that we're having, this is what's going to really punish us this season. Bournemouth at home, you think about that game where we conceded in the last minute, where we should have won that game. Tonight, PSG, the last kick of the game. There's been so many this season where we've conceded right at the end to cause us to lose a game or to cause us to draw a game, and it's really not good. It's really not good, and I don't quite understand what's happened with that. But going back to the start of the game, Villa could have really, really got off to the greatest of starts with a wonderful piece of play from Marcus Rashford, and he was a sharp all night. He was dangerous. He wasn't in the game as much as maybe you'd have liked to have been, but every time he looked to get in behind, he was really threatening, and he was giving them a really tough game. And right from the off, lovely through ball from Yuri Tillemans. He turns Diaz inside out, hits the shot with his left foot, and comes off the inside of the post and out. And that was a sign of things to come. That was really a warning shot for Manchester City. But it was City that took the lead. Ball goes out, crossfield ball, and goes back across from Mamouche, who beats Matty Cash down the left-hand side, cuts it back. It flicks off Konsa's heel and then into Bernardo Silva's path, and he hits a shot. He doesn't really hit it great, and Emi Martinez gets across. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know whether he's thinking that he's going to strike it harder or it's going to go higher, but it kind of comes off the bottom of his hand and it doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't parry it. He doesn't punch it far away. He doesn't catch it. And he probably could have caught it if his hands weren't so far away from his body, and he bounced it down onto his foot and into the net. And it's a bit of a weak shot and a really sort of weak goal to concede. And Emi Martinez has not been amazing this season. There's been times in certain games where he's come up with some big moments, times in the Champions League where he's done really well, but there has been some real mistakes this season that have kind of cost us. And even throughout that first half, I felt he was playing us into trouble. He was trying to act cool, calm and collected, but he wasn't at all, and he was causing us a lot of problems. And with Villa, we did well to kind of get out of a lot of those situations. But yeah, Martinez for me wasn't great tonight and did not cover himself in glory at all. He didn't have any real huge saves to make, as I said. Anything that he dealt with, but he didn't deal with that first goal very well at all. That was a mistake from him. And then, the second goal, maybe there's a question mark in terms of his positioning to make it more difficult with that cross coming in. But that's maybe me being a little bit too harsh on that second goal. But yeah, he wasn't great. But thankfully, 15 minutes, Marcus Rashford gets the ball down that left-hand side again, really attacks down the line, and then cuts inside and plays a little ball. I don't know if he's meant to pass it to Ramsey, but Ramsey gets up to support. Ramsey runs into the box, and Ruben Diaz, I don't know what he's doing. He's doing that old pretending to put his arms up while making the challenge with his legs, and just wipes Jacob Ramsey out. The play carries on, and then there's a stoppage in play, and the referee's called to look at the monitor off VAR, and yeah, penalties given. And I don't understand why the Manchester City fans and the coaching staff and the players were complaining about it. It's a blatant penalty. Took him out, pretended that he didn't, and yeah, rightly punished. And Marcus Rashford tucks away the penalty with absolute ease, doesn't even look at the ball, waits for the goalkeeper and sends him. Well, the goalkeeper didn't really move, to be honest. It was right in the bottom corner, and Villa 1-1 and back in it. And brilliant penalty from Rashford. And yeah, we kind of ride out the first half pretty even, and both teams had opportunities to threaten, and you could see that Villa had the edge about them. They were putting in good challenges, and if they could get that passing movement working and that belief, they could have really got in behind. And like I said, we didn't quite do that enough in the second half. I remember Rashford having an effort where he took it round Ortega after a lovely pass from Morgan Rogers, and just the angle was a bit too tight for the finish. We had one or two little bits around the box towards the end of the game, caught a couple of corners, and then I think Marlon had a shot, but we didn't really do enough to threaten them. And I think that's what gave Man City a bit of heart and a bit of momentum to push forward. And yeah, the substitutes for me just weren't quite right today. I'd have maybe considered a Ross Barkley to keep possession a bit better. I'd have taken Rodgers off earlier, as I said, and if we were to bring McGinn on, put him into the middle, and 100% Axel Disasi cannot play at right back, particularly against a really tricky and pacey winger. Garcia should have come on, or if you bring in Disasi, and if you have to bring Disasi on, you put Disasi in the middle and you put Ezri Konsa out to right back. But so disappointing. But look, we've been on a fantastic run. It's one defeat. We've got 4 more games in the league to go. We've got Fulham at home, Bournemouth away, which we need to win those 2 games. That'll be great, because we don't know. Other teams will drop points. We know that will happen. There's going to be no team that is going to win. Maybe Man City have got the experience to maybe do that, but apart from them, I don't think any team's going to win all those games that they've got coming up. And the other teams are playing against each other in that sort of race for the top 5. And then we see where we are after that with the Tottenham and Manchester United games to come after that. So look, it's really disappointing. We could have come out there with a point. We should have come out with a point, especially with a minute to go. You can't be conceding a goal there, but it's not the end of the world. We go into Saturday, win that semi-final against Crystal Palace, get into the FA Cup final, and then attack the league games with everything that we've got. We know we've got to win them all. So that's not a bad situation to be in. We've got to attack them and we've got to go for it. That's it from me. Make sure you get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on the game. We'll be back later on this week with talking tactics with Gareth, see what he thinks on the game, see what the analysis was like. And we'll be back with preview for Crystal Palace semi-final. A huge game for us. Can we get to the cup final and get some silverware in that cabinet for Aston Villa? Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. And as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa.